Welcome back again. Fred here. And after a holiday break where I couldn't meet up with my cameraman, I've decided to come back, make some videos before I meet up with my cameraman, and then we make some final videos in the studio. And after that, I am moving to LA, at least if COVID allows it. So over there, I'll buy my own camera gear, and the quality will go up. Hopefully by quite a bit, because now I'm just recording with my iPad, but we're making it work. We're trying to stay creative and make a nice video. And today's topic is gonna be, what are some nice books to read during the summer? I know we're already halfway to summer. I know I've already been away for the summer, but I read some really amazing books, and I want to give some tips on what books I've recently read, which ones I really liked. And these are not all non-fiction books. There is also some fiction, like this one, Children of Time, in there. And I just want to go through them one by one and discuss why I love them so much, and why I think you will love them as well, and why in general it is a good read, even if you're not that interested in the topic itself. And this mostly happened because of one very important reason. Is that the moment I started reading more, I felt that there's more to read. So normally I would very strictly focus on books like 12 Rules for Life from Jordan Peterson. But because I read more now, I feel I can drift a little bit more off topic with certain books. And that's definitely what I've done in the recent few months. So I want to start with the book that I've read the most recent, which is These Truths from Jill Lepore. This book is about the history, or the political history, of the United States. And although I have of course had some history classes about the United States, this book really tackles it from a different perspective, because even though this book is from 1492 until 2016, so even though it's a very short book relative to the years that are discussed, I mean, some presidencies are only discussed in 3 lines. It's a very interesting book because it really explains how America was built, on what principles and values it was built, and why America right now is still such a young country, and it's still one big experiment. I learned a lot of value and a lot of perspective I gained from reading this book, and that's why I really recommend it. It's I can't describe how important it was to me and how happy I am that I've read it. So that's the first book. Just as a complimentary book, I want to recommend Capitalism in America. It's from Alan Greenspan and Adrian Tchaikovsky. They were both, or at least Alan Greenspan was an economist. He worked for the Federal Reserve in America. He was the chairman. And I've read this book a year ago, and this is basically the economic history of the United States. So again, it's a history book, but it tackles it from a whole different perspective. So combining this with the political history offers a lot of perspective, because you're viewing the whole history from a different point of view. And now I can combine these two views and form an opinion about it, which is, I think, very important to do. You cannot just look at history from one perspective. You need to take multiple factors into account. So thereby I want to move on to a fiction book, which is Children of Time from Adrian Tchaikovsky. This also won an award for, the Book of the Year for science fiction. This was truly an amazing book. It's a little bit thick. It's a very, very long story, but I love it because there are 2 different stories happening, and per chapter you switch in the stories, and you just cannot imagine how they would fit together or how it would end. And slowly you're learning more, you're getting more, and it's very interesting. It's about a spaceship that is, they escaped from Earth. They had to run away from Earth, and they tried to populate a new planet. And a lot of questions come up with regarding how humans should behave, and are humans the problem? Are we dragging our problems with us wherever we go, or can we actually have a clean slate and start over again? I think this fiction book puts it very perfectly in perspective, and it was a lovely read. I really enjoyed it. It always was a page turner, and therefore I really recommend it as a soft read for whenever you go on vacation or you're at home. The next book is called The 12 Rules for Life from Jordan B. Peterson. The book is really amazing. The 12 rules, I wrote them all down in my diary actually last night after I reread what I've written about it before. And I have to admit that those rules, there are some really good rules in there. One rule I like in particular is the rule where he said, don't let your kids do anything that makes you dislike them. I think nowadays what you see when you look around, when you see parents raising their kids, you sometimes see them do things and the parents don't react to the kids. The kids have kind of established some dominance over the parents, and it creates a bad influence, and it's not a good thing. And I really realized, like, okay, I need to prevent that later on when I have kids. I want to make sure that that doesn't happen to my kids and to myself. So for example, this chapter already gave me a lot of insights of how I want to handle that later on. Just a small chapter, 1 out of 12, but there's a lot of really good stuff in there. The next book I want to talk about is called The Defining Decade. I've actually read this, I think, more than a year ago now. I think April 2020. I also want to make a special video on it, but I want to mention it now as well because it's a very, very good book. It talks a lot about, Meg Jay also made a TED talk about it, but she talks a lot about why your 20s are so important. So you shouldn't think that your 20s till your 30s is not important. You just get a job and whatever. No, she talks a lot about relationships in your 20s, about how your brain develops in your 20s, and how you should think about certain things for your career when you're 20s. And good to know, Meg Jay is a psychologist, a therapist, so she helps a lot of couples with issues, guys or girls who have career issues, and that's why she decided to write this book. It's a short read, it doesn't take too long, but there's so much value in there that I had to mention it right now, and I will also make a video about it later. So now we come a little bit more in the books that are topics about the future. So first of all, we have Until the End of Time from Brian Greene. I am a big space fanboy, but I don't know too much about it. And this book really put everything I knew about space and a lot of things that I didn't know in perspective. And there's a lot to say about this book. He talks about the near future, which of course is very interesting, but he also talks about the very, very, very far future, so far ahead that you can't even fathom how far away it is. And why he does that is he wants to explain the laws of nature, the laws of physics, the laws of thermodynamics, and explains where we were and where we are going in the future from a physics point of view. And that really struck me as super interesting, and there's so much in here. I don't even know where to begin. It was an amazing read. It was kind of hard to read because there's a lot of things I didn't understand at first, so I had to read really slow. Sometimes I had to read things twice. But this book, it's amazing. I'm so happy that I read it, and I know 100% I'm gonna read it again. So I 100% recommend it. If you're a little bit interested in space, you will love this book. Moving on to the last book, which is again about the future, and it's called Life 3.0. It's from Max Tegmark. And what I love about this book is the author even worked with Elon Musk, and he set up this team that is thinking about scenarios in the future. This book describes, and I haven't been noticing it that much in my own life, is that the AI is becoming so big right now. And when you look at the time of acceleration of how quickly technology improves by a factor of 2, technology is going to rapidly increase. So the chance that we have developed an AI that is as smart as a human or extends the knowledge of a human is probably, at least they expect already to have it in 2050, which is 30 years. In 30 years, and he explains all the scenarios that could happen, what we need to think about when that happens, and how things can work out, and how we hopefully can work together with AI. It's an amazing read. I recommend it to everyone because AI is coming so much quicker than you think, and this book really puts us in a position to think about, well, if it happens, if we get an omniscient AI, how do we want that AI to play a role in our civilization? How do we want it to affect us? And amazing scenarios are being discussed, and there are probably many more that we can think of as well. And it's 100% an interesting book. I 100% recommend it. I had so much fun reading it, and it really put me to think like, wow, if it's coming that quickly, how do I want things to turn out? Do we want to befriend it? Do we want to even hide it so we just keep living as we live now? Or what are we gonna do? I mean, these are all questions we need to ask ourselves, and we need to see which benefits as humans, of course, the most. At least if we want that. That's also a question up for debate. So all in all, I hope that you like this review. Again, we talked about the history of America, Children of Time, which is about space, a fiction book, non-fiction book, 12 Rules for Life from Jordan B. Peterson, The Defining Decade of Why Your 20s Matter, and 2 books about the future. One about space and time, and the other one about AI. And altogether, if you read these books, you will have a broad knowledge of these subjects, and I think that's very interesting. And again, I hope that you enjoy this. For the next video, I'm probably going to do something like this as well. I have an idea of doing something about financial literacy or about history books. I just need to pick which one I'm going to do first. And I might do a little vlog in the end, but I don't like it too much that I have my phone camera swinging like this and I don't have a good camera while vlogging. Because now I have this one, but I don't have the one normally. So again, it's good to be back. I really missed making videos, and now we're gonna publish every week again. I think this setup works for now. I'm gonna see my cameraman on the half of August, and in September I'm moving to LA, and hopefully I have a vlog camera there to record the videos. For now, thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. I know some of you haven't done that already, and we need to keep that going. We're on the road to 1,000, and again, thank you so much for watching. It has been a pleasure as always. And you know what I'm gonna say. Stay positive, be happy, Fred out.